All right, got sound. Thank you all for that. Glad I didn't go too long. I was like, man, chat is popping off here now. Everybody must be hype about Bitcoin all-time highs. Nope, just a fool without sound. So let's start over. Joey from the Chart Guys. Got to fire my my AV guy. He's dropping the ball with the sound, but I've been trading full time here for 7 years, learning under Dan for 6 of them, and we got new all-time highs in Bitcoin today. Obviously, we like kind of had it a few days ago, but that was just Coinbase. Now we've got Binance USDT up to new all-time highs, and to the dismay of some folks, there weren't like fireworks to the upside or anything like that. Got a nice few minutes of follow through and then got smacked down again. But as I've been saying in these streams for the past couple weeks or so, I don't care too much about the all-time high level. I care about our trends and our EMA riders because they're so clear right now. And it's one thing for bears to smack down an all-time high attempt, but we can see what just happened on this last one. You hold your uptrends, you hold your EMAs, and then you're good to keep on going. So as the deal has been for months now at this point, right? Or yeah, month and a half, daily 12 EMA is the top guide for Bitcoin in the intermediate term. As long as that's holding, then bears aren't going anywhere. We know we will see consolidation along the way on this journey. You never go straight up, you never go straight down. And it's one thing for bears to play some defense and try to back down all-time highs. But if they can't take out trends along with it, then it means nothing. And then even if we do lose the daily 12 EMA, which we will again, doesn't feel like it, but we will again, then we zoom out to the weekly, and we've got weekly 12 EMA. So we know we will see weekly consolidation. Again, at this point, we have gone 81% from our last weekly high or low. We will see it again. We can't be bamboozled when it happens again, but it's not going to happen out of nowhere, and it's not going to happen without losing the daily 12 EMA support. So on this whole move up here for this week, we're saying what matters? The daily 12 EMA support. We get up to all-time highs, legit blow off top there. It was a huge move from top to bottom, almost 15%. And where did we bottom? The daily 12 EMA, hourly oversold conditions. And we kept the show on the road. So that's just going to continue to be the guide here in the intermediate term. And as long as that's holding, bulls are absolutely chilling. Another thing that we continue to talk about is if there's going to be red flags in the space, we're not going to be seeing rotation. We're not going to be seeing alts still having good days. We're going to see negative 25% days on alts. But with the little flush we had here today, and we'll zoom in on it, a little new all-time high, flush down. This bounce back up. We had a bunch of alts V-shaped to new highs. That's not going to happen if the space isn't still healthy as a whole. And then obviously right now we're right back up to these fresh morning all-time highs. I would still anticipate an hourly lower high compared to that level in an hourly tightening range, but bears are not even going to see 12-hour consolidation if they can't take out 66K at this point. So we did lose our little 12-hour stair step that we had, but now at this close back above, or I mean, we still got time left in the candle, but being so far above it at this point, we know that the low of this candle is the key support for bears to see any 12-hour consolidation, daily consolidation, and then we'd be looking right back to that 12 EMA. So let's see where hourly oversold would be from here. Right around that 12 EMA. We can mark that up at this point. And again, these lines will move around as the price continues to develop, but we can get it on there so that we're prepared next time it does come into play. And we'll just put our daily 12 EMA on there as well. Daily 12 EMA. And that's where bulls are looking on Bitcoin itself here, and obviously no resistance overhead. So as the guide for this hourly move, we got hourly stair step, got not quite a 15-minute uptrend, lost it a little bit there, but we can kind of just call it that, talk about 15-minute higher lows at this point, and it's just resistance at 69,990. So that's Bitcoin here. Let's just move on through the list a little bit, and then we'll see what y'all are looking at. ETH obviously staying plenty strong here, and our 12-hour 12 EMA that has been our guide for what feels like forever now will continue to be the guide. Obviously, we got a big old push down below it, but with the close back over then another candle bouncing right off of it, we can still just use that as our intermediate guide, knowing that it'll be the zoom out game once that's lost, because it's always going to be the zoom out game. Something will be a guide, but it's just a guide on that time frame. And then the beauty of being in a trending move is that once you lose that guide, you fall back on the next guide. And what can be just a short-term victory for bears ends up being healthy consolidation for bulls on a larger time frame. So we're in uptrends on all time frames in many, many of these names. So as soon as one is lost, it's zoom out game to the next one. So we've also got 4-hour 12 EMA, 4-hour uptrend. As long as that's intact on ETH USD, then there's no daily consolidation shaping up. As soon as daily consolidation comes, we'll be looking for anything over 3205 to be a daily higher low. And one thing to be mindful of with ETH is we know we've had this big old tightening range, low, high, higher low, lower high, higher low on ETH BTC here. And it's sure looking like another lower high is shaping up to continue tightening. And this range, if you want to view it on the weekly, 2-week, whatever, this is going to be key for the alts as a whole, because, you know, we've had Bitcoin primarily leading the way up on this move since pretty much like 2023. Certain alts have gone into rotation and seen nice moves, but if we look at Bitcoin dominance, you know, it's been the Bitcoin show in the scheme of things. So what crypto bulls want to see is when Bitcoin inevitably cools off, and again, 80+% since last weekly consolidation. Won't be surprising when it happens, but burden of proof is on the bears. But when that happens, bulls want to see money rotate into the alts. They want to see Bitcoin dominance drop and ideally set like a 6-month lower high. We know it's the most likely scenario, and burden of proof is on these dominance bears to get it done. But that's what alt bulls and just general crypto bulls want to see, because that's how these cycles go. And along with that, you're going to want to see this ETH BTC break this to the upside, just as a vote of confidence for alts in general here. So bigger picture, that's what we're looking for. But in the intermediate term, looks like some daily consolidation shaping up. If that's the case, then ETH is going to be weaker than Bitcoin as long as we're consolidating on the daily. Still just a daily stair step at this point. So more proving for bears to get it underway, potentially a 4-hour head and shoulders. If bulls hold 56.27 on the ratio chart here. And that is that. So LTC, nice move off of the low, looking for a daily lower high compared to 94.88. And just watching this daily stair step, 4-hour uptrend, a little funky in here, but we've got a new key support at the low of today, 84.12. If that were to be taken out, did I say the right number here? Oh, 94.88. I think I said that. So low of today, 84.12, key support. If that's lost, daily consolidation. Then we'll look for a daily equilibrium because bulls have so much room for a higher low compared to 72.06 down here. And LTC, BTC, right back to the lows. So nice few day move, but no trend change. Bulls got a daily bounce and looking like a little daily bear flag there. So LTC still just going to be a turd as long as weekly 12 EMA is resistance on LTC, BTC. So let's look at some of our strong names. So our NDR, we have just V-shaped that dump from Tuesday all the way to new highs here. And now we've got a 4-hour uptrend, 4-hour 12 EMA support. Higher highs starting to lack follow through here, but in this type of market environment, it's worth noting because it's saying, okay, maybe bulls are getting tired, but it's the burden of proof is 100% on bears when you're up in blue skies. And you can see names just slink on upwards for an additional 15% with higher highs not getting follow through. You know, they're not getting follow through, but market environment is so important when we're evaluating how do we weigh these technical signals that are coming in. So I'm certainly not saying our NDR is not going to consolidate again. It is, and bulls are going to have a ton of room for a daily higher low compared to 587, and hourly back burner going to be on watch there. We've got FET V-shaped that Tuesday dump to new all-time highs here, and just daily 12 EMA support being an absolute beast. Got 4-hour 12 EMA support as well. If that's lost, then we'd have some daily consolidation. Hourly back burner going to be on watch for a daily higher low. And, you know, these are both AI related coins up in blue skies. So always talking about the importance of keeping a close eye on blue sky bulls. And we've got a heavy AI narrative just in the markets in general. So these coins are worth paying attention to. WLD, another one, but not up at blue skies, but it is looking for a weekly higher low. So looking at the weekly here, weekly consolidation underway, tons of room for a higher low, and bull's going to try to shape up a daily trend change from here to have this be a weekly bull flag. So this was another one this morning that V-shaped that little mini blow off top on Bitcoin. So those are blue sky bulls that are rocking and rolling right now. We've got other names rocking and rolling. Our meme coins catching a second wave here. We got Pepe to new highs. So on that Tuesday blow off top, certainly looked like the show was coming to an end, but we held our EMAs. Pepe's our 8-hour 12 EMA rider. I'm not trying to make it seem like it's easy in the moment to identify that it's still holding, because at the low of this candle, it's looking like, all right, the show's over. We're losing our EMA rider. And then it gets snapped up from there. So I definitely acknowledge that. But at the end of the day, you go back and you check and you see if you're still riding it. And if you are, then it remains the guide. And even if you do lose it, say we did close down below here, you can always just bounce from the next one and then get back up and over and keep the show on the road. So we always have to continually evaluate. All right, so we got this technical signal. What are the implications from that? And what should each side, bulls and bears, be doing based on that technical signal? If that happens, then okay, that's affirmed. But if it doesn't happen, then we say, okay, that's like a failed breakdown or this or that or a quick daily higher low. So we create these guides, but then you always, whether you're breaking support or resistance, you always have to evaluate, is this getting follow through? Is this what bears want to see? If we're breaking a support, are we just going into another time frame higher low? A larger time frame higher low, and in bull markets that's often what you'll see with it. So meme coins staying super strong. Pepe the strongest. How far have we gone off the low at this point? Or we'll go from down here, 746%, absolutely beasting. So SHIB is also seeing a nice day here. Had a little 4-hour equilibrium, broke bull overnight. Some decent follow through, but anytime you got an equilibrium that's breaking, you got to be cautious that you're just going to end up in an equilibrium on a larger time frame, and this could very well be a 6-hour equilibrium here on SHIB. So and I hope it is, because the tighter this gets, then the clearer the signal is going to be when it breaks. If it breaks bull, then the show stays on the road. If it breaks bear, then that'd be the first sign of some weekly consolidation shaping up. But at this point, we're very far from the low of last week, 39%, and that's actually not the low of the EQ. The low of the EQ is right there. So bears would have to see a good bit of follow through on it to actually get that weekly consolidation. So we're just looking at high, low, lower high, higher low, and anything below 39.47 would be a lower high. And if we do that and continue tightening up, anything over 29.34 would be a 6-hour higher low. Maybe you can view it on the 8-hour if you want to smooth it out a bit. Use that EMA with it, but just watching the price action there. Doge, pretty similar deal. 4-hour tightening range, breaking bull. Potential for a 6-hour tightening range, but I mean right up on resistance here, 17,981 at this point. So let's look at our daily here. So another daily 12 EMA bouncer. So that's going to be our bigger picture guide here. And I don't think SHIB got close. No, SHIB did not get close. So a little bit weaker on Doge in that regard, but similar EQ. If it breaks bear, we'll be looking for some weekly consolidation. If it breaks bull, then the show stays on the road. And another thing worth noting here, so Doge, this was an hourly back burner into daily 12 EMA. That's your bread and butter setup, and very nice follow through on that at this point. But SHIB has not hit its hourly back burner yet. If we turn on our RSI levels, we didn't get it on that dump. We didn't get it here. So that's still an active play on SHIB. And it's just below support at this point. So 28.18 on SHIB, that is worth watching for sure. And Bonk, similar structure here. Similar structure here, watching a 6-hour equilibrium. Technically got the lower high set, but with the V-shape, just gonna treat it as it is continuing to tighten. So resistance there can be 36.90.72. These meme coins test my reading skills, that's for sure. We got 26.52.54 support, and same deal. If this breaks bull, the show stays on the road. If it breaks bear, then that'd be the first sign of some weekly consolidation. We'd be looking back to weekly 12 EMA, which we have been riding. Ditch my phone. All right. What else we got for green today? Phil. Where you at, Phil? Philip. So Phil, you know, we've been talking about Phil for a while being our next long-term baser that we're looking to break out. And in a sea of mild red here today, aside from our meme coins and our AI coins, Phil's one of our only green names, daily 12 EMA rider, and coming up, or no, through 1139 was our last resistance. So we've got a clear lack of resistance overhead. Got daily 12 EMA rider, lots of room for a daily higher low compared to 766 next consolidation. And looking to see if Phil can follow suit with all of our peers that have done this. So we had Link was one of our basers that got big time follow through. We had Jasmy was one of our basers that got big time follow through. Uni was a baser that got big time follow through. Doge, baser that got big time follow through. Shib, not as pretty, but baser, we don't have it drawn on there, but baser that got big time follow through. Is Phil the next one? It's trying to be. When you've got days like this where there's decent red elsewhere and you're standing out green in a sea of it, that tells you that something's happening. And let's check in on our Phil BTC. Are we breaking our equilibrium at the lows to the upside? I bet we're close. If we're not, we got to tighten. Okay, so we're right up on resistance. And Phil BTC wants to get this monthly trend change. First monthly trend change in multiple years. Monthly 12 EMA resistance. If Phil BTC gets up and over 1909, then that's the scenario where Phil USD gets to really stack some numbers on here. It could go 100% very quick. If the space stays strong and Phil BTC gets over monthly 12 EMA, Phil, everybody's going to be talking about Phil. So probably already talking about it today with the clear green against the red. What else we got? KUJI, low cap, doing pretty decent today. And let's look at INJ. Let's look at INJ because opportunity is still definitely here. We're a blue sky bull. We're knocking up on resistance. We got the bull break without much follow through, but our same shtick of balance play where bears are looking short off the highs, bulls are looking long off the lows, it's still intact. So perhaps in the shorter term, risk to reward may favor a move down for some daily consolidation. But if we can get INJ BTC to set a monthly higher low, then INJ USD is going to be poised for a big move through blue skies. So INJ BTC is still weak. It's still weak. We got to call it how it is. But knowing that a monthly higher low is the most likely scenario, knowing monthly 12 EMA, which we've been riding, is coming into play, that has us keeping a close eye on it. And maybe it will take INJ USD getting follow through into blue skies to get the monthly higher low set here. But that's going to be the real go sign on INJ USD. And I'm just liking the 2-day downtrend for this. So looking like maybe a quick 2-day lower high is shaping up, and that would make the new resistance 67.03 for INJ BTC, and that'd be the first sign of a monthly higher low. And that's what INJ USD bulls want to see. Not too unsimilar to Sol. So if we look at Sol, we had our sideways tightening range very similar to INJ, and Sol actually got some follow through on the bull break from it. We're watching our weekly 12 EMA here, but despite being strong in the USD pairing, Sol BTC is a good bit weaker. So we're looking for Sol BTC to shape up a monthly higher low, which is the most likely scenario, to try to get Sol USD to see another solid leg up. So looking here, bulls are trying for it. Let's get some clarity. Maybe the 2-day on a lot of these ratio charts is the ticket right now. Yeah, we'll stick with the 2-day. So we had a solid 2-day bounce, then clean double bottom and almost a clean double top now. So bulls need to get through 22,394 on Sol BTC to increase the odds that a monthly higher low is shaping up here, and that would bring Sol USD back into the spotlight. That being said, independently, Sol USD is doing fine. It's doing absolutely fine. We know we've got this key balance area from back in February and March 2022, and it's been very reactive within here. You get your breakout, huge dump on Tuesday with everything. Is the generational top in? Well, amidst all of that fear, we held the value area high and V-shaped to new highs here. So we've got 4-hour 12 EMA support in the shorter term. If that's lost, there'll be some daily consolidation, and then bulls have a ton of room for a daily higher low compared to 105. So let's see who else. OP, fresh blue skies, daily consolidation underway. Bulls looking for a daily higher low, and this is our hourly back burner that is hitting right now. And actually, it's the first technical back burner we've definitely gotten close, very close a few times, but first one since back at 342, so not the craziest move off of it, but let's see if bulls can regain a hourly uptrend as step one to shaping up a quick daily higher low. As long as bulls hold the daily 12 EMA, that'll be a daily bull flag, and continuing to keep eyes on these blue sky bulls here. So let's look at RNDR, another blue sky bull, and that big dump we had earlier in the week, right from the weekly 12 EMA, which has been our guide. This is why these EMA guides are just gangbusters. It makes it simple. It makes it simple, and it gives you very clear parameters for if-then statements. If RNDR is holding weekly 12 EMA, then bulls are in full control. If ETH-USD, BTC-USD, SOL-USD, INJ-USD, if they're all holding the weekly 12 EMA, bigger picture, they're all fine. They are all more than healthy. So big dump down on Tuesday and then massive V-shape. Got to be one of the bigger ones. 87% off of Tuesday's lows. Just crazy. So we'll be looking for an hourly back burner here. And let's see. So that wasn't an hourly back burner. Was that the 4-hour? That was the 4-hour back burner. So we had burned through our other back burners on RNDR because where was our hourly? So this hourly failed, still gave a decent bounce and an opportunity to get risk-free, almost 5% bounce. That failed, and then down to the 4-hour. So you've got your 5-minute back burner, that fails, you zoom out to 15-minute, that fails, hourly, 4-hour, daily. That's your lineup for it. So actually, we did talk about RNDR a bit already with these higher highs not seeing follow through. Just watching our 4-hour uptrend, 4-hour 12 EMA. Hourly back burner going to be back on watch. And let's see if our smaller time frame back burners are doing anything. So it looks like 5-minute is since that. Yeah, I mean, our 5-minute back burners are hitting, but they are going kind of deep. They're marking lows, and then we're continuing higher off of all of them, minus this wick here. So I would probably wait for 15-minute at this point. Looks like that was more clearly a 15-minute back burner last time. Yeah, I would hold off on the 5-minute back burner at this point. And the more aggressive are doing 15-minute, and then more patient gonna wait for that hourly again. 15-minute equilibrium here. If that breaks bear, 4-hour consolidation. If it breaks bull, the show goes on. And let's see if we can end this weekly lower high watch list. I'm pretty sure everybody's nuked out now. So AAVE, higher highs. Matic, higher highs. AXS, higher highs, just marginally. ETC, higher highs with follow through. Atom, higher highs. GMT is still alive, but it did get the weekly lower high and then a weekly uptrend continuation. So still watching for a 2-week lower high here. So we can keep that, but we'll get rid of the rest of this watch list because ADA, higher highs. Phil, obviously higher highs. And Theta, big time higher highs. And I forgot about Theta as another one of our basers here. So what do we want to name this now? Ultimately, they were our laggard bulls. When we first made this watch list, the whole thing of it was Weekly lower highs are the most likely scenario on these names, but they are also laggard bulls. And in hindsight, with the space staying strong and keeping it on, the laggard bull play worked a lot better than the weekly lower high play, because the weekly lower high only worked on ETC marginally and GMT marginally. We never got the go signal on any of the other ones. Just daily 12 EMA holding. Looking at Matic, just daily 12 EMA holding on the way up, all the way through resistance. Got the little spike down on Tuesday, little spike down. What percentage was that? 22? 19. So big old spike down. It actually did lose the daily uptrend, but and the weekly stair step. What do we want to use on Matic now? We're not in a daily uptrend, but we're looking for a daily higher low, and I think we'll just call it that. We don't need to try to force something on it. But lots of room for a daily higher low. And is this an hourly back burner? This is an hourly back burner. So if this marks a very quick daily higher low, then that is going to be the strongest look for bulls, obviously. So, and on the note of evaluating back burners and just general market stuff, it was a pretty spicy day in the broad market, and Bitcoin bulls, crypto bulls are pleased as can be to not really feel a lot of it, especially since Bitcoin topped out just a minute off of the NASDAQ. So we're looking at 1031 here, and then we go to NQ, and the top here was 1030. And a big part of this top in the NASDAQ is NVDA. Pretty much a full-blown blow-off top at this point. So we're still looking for a daily higher low, but biggest volume in ages. And these other high volume days were all earnings. So non-earnings day, massive volume, little bit of a blow-off top. So, Dan's been wondering, one, what's Bitcoin going to do when the broad market consolidates? But two, is Bitcoin going to consolidate with the semiconductors? So the rest of the space is still holding on decent. SMCI, it's a red day, but I mean, that's pretty chill. AMD, same little bit of a blow off top, but looking for a daily higher low. MU cracked 100, bit of a blow off top, not to the same degree, but this is now led for the NASDAQ to be hitting higher highs without follow through. So same thing we're talking about with RNDR 4 hour. Is it a great look to see higher, and Bitcoin really? Is it a great look to see higher highs without follow through? No. So it's objectively not. But is it let you know that you're effed and the show's over? No, because the burden of proof is on bears 100%. So it's the first thing that kind of gets you to raise your eyebrow a little bit. But you got to know that the burden of proof remains on the bears. Let's see. It looks like it's getting dark. I got to turn on my lamp. Getting dark. We got a rainy day here. Not super rainy, but cloudy. So, yeah, broad market. Is it just daily consolidation shaping up, or is it something more notable because of NVDA? It feels like it could be more notable, but the burden of proof's on bears. And why I got into this is the hourly back burner hit today. So if this marks the daily higher low, the show goes on. But if it doesn't in NVDA, then just as general market participants, obviously crypto's been doing its own thing for a while now, but as still got to pay attention, because there is a history of correlation with the NASDAQ, and we saw it on the first all-time high attempt on Tuesday. Where was the NASDAQ? Was that here? Yeah, so that was Tuesday morning, and the NASDAQ dumped right with Bitcoin. What's our timing on it? We'll go back here and just dig in a little bit more. So that was 10 a.m. on Tuesday. So we go and we look at the NASDAQ at our 10 a.m. push up with the Bitcoin new all-time high, and then dump down off of that. So we're seeing it sync up for brief moments. It was the same thing today, and obviously the NASDAQ never really got the bounce underway, and Bitcoin has retraced almost the whole thing. So bulls love to see that, but just gonna be keeping eyes on it. And that's that. I think that's pretty much all I'm trying to look at here today. Let's see what y'all are trying to look at here today. Thanks again for the no sound updates there. Man, looks like a Slackbot is picking on Terabyte. Deleted your message that said hello, Joey. I don't know why the bot's picking on you. Probably timed you out, telling me there's no sound or something. All right. Into fans, I'm doing decent. Hope the same for you, friend. Let's take a look at ARB. ARB USDT. That was quite the pullback there today, huh? Let's see. So ARB still in its sideways range, still in a choppy sideways range, and riding the weekly 12 EMA. So we know weekly 12 EMAs are a bigger picture guide, and kind of just treating this like INJ, where it's a bears play short off the highs, bulls play short long off the lows, excuse me. And isn't ARB, we had our ARB BTC ratio is like plummeting, right? Yeah. So looking for ARB BTC to get a weekly bounce underway and be what pushes ARB USD to go to new highs. So maybe a little daily inverse head and shoulders here. Got daily 12 EMA resistance. We'll draw it on there. Got your left shoulder, got your head, got your right shoulder. If that can confirm, that'll be our weekly stair step on ARB BTC. And that's likely what would take ARB USD into new all-time highs. So looking at our daily, not a lot of clarity here. Still just not a lot of clarity. Let's see if we can find something. 4 hour, not a lot of clarity. This 12 hour, we can be looking at that. So big 12 hour bounce, and anything over this 176.5 would be a 12 hour lower high. We got a big old hourly bounce here from hourly oversold conditions. Oh, just a tick off. Just a tick off. Not that it's a back burner, but you still love to see it. Like there's a back burners are like technical back burners are after a big breakout, and then you're coming down. You know, this wasn't a big breakout. We're a range bound name, but you can still gain clues from does hourly oversold mark your larger time frame high or low. And that's actually part of how that was one of our earliest clues back way back when Bitcoin bottomed. Where are we? Believe it was in here. No. What am I looking at? I'm a little disoriented. Give me a second because this is important. So it was in here. We had put a little cowboy guy. We had just a random hourly oversold cleanly mark our low, and that was kind of the first thing that was like, that was a pretty clean. Oh, I see. I was not even close to far enough back. I wonder if our data goes all the way back. Here we are. I believe it was this one here, where it's like this isn't a back burner, but hourly oversold hadn't been doing anything for a long time. And then we dinged it clean, and then never saw that price again after that. So even though it's not a back burner, we can still garner information and say, okay, bulls are buying up hourly oversold to new highs. That's a clue here. So when we're looking at ARB and we see that hourly oversold mark a low, is that the first sign that the USD pairing is fixing to break out of this tightening range and that the BTC pairing is fixing to get a weekly stair step off the ground? Perhaps. So first step is going to be an hourly uptrend from here. Tons of room for an hourly higher low compared to 2. Psychological. And resistance going to be 219.36. And yeah, I think we'll stick with the hourly and 12 hour here. Hourly and 12 hour. Just seeing if the cat's trying to get out. He'd come right back in. It's raining. All right, Jay Stevens says 75K by the end of the day. That'd be exciting, sir. We got Bull's got to put a foot on the gas if that's going to happen. How much time we got left in the daily candle? 3 hours and 22 minutes. But if anything could do it, it's Bitcoin. Does it seem like the most likely scenario? Probably not. But time will tell. M. Connors, I pulled out of my swing position at 65.8. Now you're itching to get back in. I'd wait for a daily 12 EMA test. I'd wait for a daily 12 EMA test and an hourly back burner and try to give it a go. If it doesn't work, stop out, because that means we probably got weekly consolidation shaping up. But no FOMO, no FOMO. And in general, whether it's you just sold your swing and you want to get back in, or you don't have any and you want to try some, your back burners are the ticket. All right, we'll let the cat out and then just let him right back in. Yeah, babe, it's raining. Go out. You're probably not even gonna want to go. Yeah, it's effed. Yeah. Sorry. Poor dude. Dreams crushed. All right. Let's see. Jack Goff. There's another stream right now with 400 viewers following a guy who has absolutely no clue what he's looking at. I sent them all here instead. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. A lot of people are, into this stuff for entertainment. So there's streamers out there that probably have more of a life than I do, and are more entertaining than I am. But if you want to listen to a guy who's been doing nothing but looking at charts for 7 years, this is the spot. This is the spot. Let's see, we got some, is that AIOZ? AIOZ? Is that right? Yeah. We'll just look at USD on Coinbase. Dang. All-time highs. I'm going to add this to the AIOZ USD. We'll stick it in here in our blue sky list. I love this about the crypto space. There's just so many coins. So many coins. Who cares what they do? Who knows what they do? But you got some crap up 31% in a day. 155% in 4 days. You just don't get that anywhere else. You just don't get it anywhere else. So we're a blue sky bull, hourly back burner, going to be on deck, and we got hourly 12 EMA rider. Clean as you like it. Clean as you like it, and it's been an hourly 12 EMA rider pretty much since that low. That's pretty sweet. So since we started riding 121%, once that's lost, we'll look for some 4-hour consolidation, just a 4-hour stair step, and bulls will be looking to 15-minute oversold and 4-hour 12 EMA. For a 4-hour higher low, if the 4-hour uptrend and 12 EMA is intact, then no daily consolidation shaping up. 4-hour 12 EMA would need to be lost to get some daily consolidation, and that's when we'd be looking for our hourly back burner. So absolutely beastin'. Let's get some bigger picture structure. Another weekly 12 EMA rider. This is very similar to RNDR, is it not? Oh, decently similar. It had more of a sideways range. More of a sideways range on it. Someone looks just like this. Bonk. Try Bonk. Who is it? No? Oh, I need the longer Bonk. Give me the longer Bonk. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. That's what I'm thinking of. Big move up on the weekly, then just sideways, riding the EMA, and then bonked it up to new highs. Quite similar. So yeah, that's that for AIOZ. Absolutely beast in here today. Let's see if our 5-minute back burners have been doing anything. I don't think they've actually been hitting. Pretty close, but not actually hitting. All of them have been front run except for this last one. Oh, and even that was technically front run by a nugget. All right, let's see. Let's see, Ryan V says the list of EQs that haven't broken bull yet is decreasing. Yeah, that's how we see it go. It's very, very similar to that weekly lower high crew. Like you have these things, and then this space just like one pops off, and the next pops off, and the next pops off, and that's the hallmark of a healthy space. And it's not just a crypto thing. We see it in the uranium space all the time, where your major names will pop, or typically it's your higher risk names will pop, and then your major names pop and follow, and then you'll get one name start weekly consolidation, then everyone else starts weekly consolidation, so that those context clues are very important to use. And that was part of the reason why we were able to kind of cool the jets on this weekly lower high crew pretty early on. As soon as Bitcoin, then ETH, then Theta. As soon as Theta went, it was like, okay, well, it seems like everybody's going to weekly higher highs now, so let's be mindful of that. Let's see. Yeah, Ryan shared quite a crazy KUJI story yesterday. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at KUJI. It is coming back to life. It's got beautiful daily uptrend at this point. Yeah, beautiful is a heavy word for it. Maybe, what's a step below beautiful? Like, good looking. It's a good looking, but I don't even know if objectively if it's good looking. Bulls like to see it because basically you had the head and shoulders and then you broke it bull. So anytime you've got a bearish pattern that breaks bull, that kind of just tells you a bit more of what's going on under the hood. But simply, despite some of the deep pullbacks and lacks of follow through, and this is right to that point again of how in this market environment, higher highs without follow through don't really mean a lot. And I see another comment in here about divergence. You know, RSI divergence doesn't really mean a lot. We had RSI divergence here on these highs for KUJI. It was looking like it was going to mean a lot, but unless you can take out your trends and then confirm downtrends, it doesn't mean a lot. So especially in these, because there's two ways to view RSI divergence. One way is that like, oh, well, bulls are actually losing steam and it's not as strong as it seems. But the other way is that bulls just cooled off RSI like some bosses and are now working their way back up to the highs. So, you know, in my observation and in Dan's observation, RSI divergence is not a very valuable tool. It can be very misleading. And for me, I don't use it at all because I don't want that affecting my bias. Like a signal with that low of probability, I don't want into my my probability calculator up here. So I choose just to ignore it fully. So KUJI, can bulls do what they did on the daily, on the weekly? Because this could be a weekly head and shoulders. At this point, the odds of it actually confirming are super low because we've bounced so much there that even if bears did defend all-time high 583, we would anticipate a weekly tightening range. But just going to watch the daily uptrend. Burden of proof on bears. So hourly 12 EMA in the shorter term. Harrison, it's raining, dude. It's still raining. All right, we'll try again. Sometimes once he realizes the offerings inside suck, he goes to deal with the rain. Yeah, give it a go, love. Tuck against the wall. Yeah. Yeah, he'll be back soon, but he's gotta get his fix and figure it out for himself. All right, what else we got? Yeah, we'll take a quick peek at some miners just in general because they're finally getting some bounce underway here. So daily bounce on Mara, anything below 29.38 going to be a daily lower high. So this is some weekly consolidation and bulls trying to bounce from the weekly 12 EMA. So are we going to be saying the same thing about Mara? Where it's like, you know, who cares that we didn't get higher highs? If bears can't prove it by taking out some trends, then the show goes on. We could be, but it's a bit of a different context here. Because one of the key things with kind of shrugging off those higher highs without follow through on RNDR and BTC is that we're in blue skies. Mara is looking for like a 6-month lower high still. So when you start to see these higher highs without follow through, you know, it could play out in a couple ways. And you'll see this relationship with like, anytime you get a higher high without follow through or a lower low without follow through, your mind should immediately go to wedge or potential head and shoulders. And if bulls were to bounce from here, then we'd have to be cautious of a rising wedge, something like that. If that were to shape on up, or if bears continue down from here, then we'd have to be cautious of a head and shoulders. So it's all about the retracement size after the Let's see, I'm dropping frames. Dropping frames, sorry about that. Hopefully it stops here. Okay, I think the bleeding stopped. I think the bleeding stopped. You know, when we get inclement weather, whether it be wind or rain, it's not uncommon for the power and the internet to sketch out a little bit because all of our lines are like going through the forest. So then you get tree branches whopping up against them. All right, so that's Mara. Let's see, Riot, pretty similar deal except weaker. Looking for a weekly equilibrium here. Daily bounce is underway, certainly looking like a daily bear flag. Is CLSK still the king? CLSK? Still the king. Still the king. I mean, it could be a daily head and shoulders here, but held daily support. Slight bear break without follow through. You look at Mara. I mean, Mara didn't lose it by a ton, but Riot obviously lost it by a ton. And CLSK, still just chilling. Still got overhead resistance, but definitely the strongest of the bunch. And what's the other one you want to look at? MSTR. That's the king. You know, obviously not a miner, but, you know, makes sense, the MSTR. Because the miners have the whole, like, there's a whole thing with the miners between like the ETFs being a thing now and just general market participants like myself, like Dan, not having as much of a need for the miners to get stock account crypto exposure. So there's that whole thing. There's the halvening, whereas MSTR is pretty much just like, you know, a crap ton of Bitcoins on their book. So up, not in blue skies, but getting close. Man, I bet a lot of people didn't think that'd be possible, and we're above the 2021 highs on MSTR at this point. So you love to see it. And as far as resistances, we are in some gap fill. Got gap fill at, what the heck? The reverse splits have created some crazy numbers up here. So we're looking at a gap fill at 2142 and then all-time high 3300. Pretty much the only resistance is overhead. So as you can probably imagine, daily 12 EMA, daily uptrend guide on MSTR. Bulls looking good. Bulls looking good. Yeah, Matt, thank you for the reminder. Smash the like button, please. It makes Dan happy. And who doesn't want to make Dan happy? He's just the sweetest dude. He's the sweetest dude. Smash the like button for Dan. Hey, if we get 500 likes, Dan will do the next stream. I'll get the likes to come in. All right. Let's see. Carmen wants to look at banana. Is that how you spell banana? That is. What do we want to look at it on? This will do the BitGet. It's another one that I haven't seen, and another blue sky bull, and not quite a daily 12 EMA rider. We've got a weekly stair step that just broke here this week without any follow through. That was our push below the daily 12 EMA, so we were like kind of a daily 12 EMA rider, and then you lose that. Once you lose your EMA, the standard EMA rider play is getting the lower high and the lower low to see that larger time frame consolidation, but no dice at this point for bears as bulls just V-shaped it to new highs. So we are looking for a daily higher low next consolidation. Anything over 25.73 would be one. And let's see if this is hourly oversold getting snapped up. Sure looks like it. Nope, front run a little bit here. Front run a little bit. So, and this is another one where I wouldn't say it's a back burner, but just taking notes. Just taking notes of these things. So let's find some clarity. So that was our daily consolidation when we lose the 4-hour uptrend, and then bears would need to confirm a 4-hour downtrend to see follow through. But at this point, the size of the 4-hour bounce favors at least a 4-hour equilibrium. If we see a 4-hour lower high compared to 35.79, that is the most likely scenario. But burden of proof is on bears, and we got a 15-minute uptrend, 15-minute 12 EMA, and I don't know how it is on other exchanges, but this is looking pretty illiquid. Let's see. Let's Is that what we were? Banana USD. Banana gun. Yeah, I guess we'll stick with the BitGet because that other one doesn't have anything. Yeah, pretty liquid in general, but Blue Sky Bull and illiquid Blue Sky Bulls are pretty sweet when you get like full-blown alt season, that's for sure. So we'll see what kind of, rotation we get back to our, not like our old coins, but like the coins from the last cycle. Sol, Link, Matic, ADA, AVAX. I guess Phil's in that category as well. Are they, surely they'll get their time to shine, but keeping a close focus on these new age Blue Sky Bulls because it could be the difference. If the space stays strong, those coins will definitely do well. But, for Sol, doing well from here would be like 300% or something. But these Blue Sky Bulls could put on 3,000%. So it all depends on what you're about. And it's not like you have to pick one or the other. And you can have plays for both. Like Phil is obviously not a Blue Sky Bull, but there's reason to be interested in it. That's for sure. So we'll see. We will see what we get. Jay Stevens smoking some hopium. That's some of my favorite smoke, dude. Yeah, Cat feeling outside FOMO. I'm kind of surprised he's not back yet. He's that antsy. He kind of slept in today. We both did. I'm kind of working through first cold in a decade. So slept in a little bit. So did the cat. Been rainy. Let's see. What would I say about WIF? When do you think the meme coins pump will end? Let's see. WIF. Has this been trading somewhere else any longer? Yeah, we'll watch it on MixC. So WIF's a daily 12 EMA rider, very similar to Bitcoin in the sense that Tuesday flush right off the 12 EMA and kept the show on the road. So we have got 4-hour uptrend in the intermediate term. That'll be the guide for the daily. Next time that's lost, we'll have daily consolidation. If bulls hold the 12 EMA, then bulls keep cruising through blue skies. Dog whiff hat. Dog whiff hat. I'm sure the tech is phenomenal. Yeah, we'll just keep that simple. 4-hour stair step within a 4-hour uptrend. Once those are both lost, that'll be our daily stair step within our daily uptrend. Once that's lost, be looking for a weekly higher low with a ton of space to form it. When do I think the meme coin pump will end? When we lose daily 12 EMAs on all of them. I would say some weekly consolidation shaping up. But as far as putting a time on it, no clue. No clue. And we've got shorter EMA riders. So Pepe, we got the 12. Doge is a daily 12 EMA rider, so that's not quite as strong. SHIB, what are we riding on SHIB? Is it back on the 12? Yeah, SHIB's on the 12 now. And Bonk is with Doge on the daily. So those will need to be lost for us to say that, okay, we got maybe some weekly consolidation shaping up. But even then, we're looking for a weekly higher low. And let's not forget, back in the day, many people would have said after this move on Doge off the lows that like, okay, the show's over. 50% off the top, but into another 1,200% move. Okay, the show's got to be over here. This is the beauty of being in uptrends. Another 50% off the top into another 4-figure percentage move. So the beauty of being in uptrends is when you lose one, you get to fall back on the next. When you lose another, you get to fall back on the next. So losing daily 12 EMA will just be the short term. All right, things are shifting here, but then we'll definitely be looking for a weekly higher low. There's no doubt about that. And if the weekly can stay healthy like these other times, it's no guarantee, obviously, that you go up to higher highs, but you evaluate the health of consolidation. If the consolidation stays healthy, then we have no reason to really knock on the bulls. And then, this was the first dip below weekly 12 EMA. We still closed above, but then bears confirmed the weekly downtrend. And then that was all she wrote. for Doge. That was all she wrote, but now we're back. Now we're back. We got a weekly uptrend, and the meme coins will run as long as they do, and we're not going to be surprised at all. Whatever numbers they put up, just not going to be surprised at all, because this is the crypto space. This is why we're all here, because stupid stuff happens. Because stupid stuff happens, and you can make money doing it or playing with it. So yeah, that's that. Let's see, Dan X Path. Thank you for the second call to likes. I love it. Thank you for the compliment. We got a few other cat owners with the cats that do the same things. It's a cat thing for sure. That dude is, I tell you, he's getting old and crotchety, getting bossy. James Dangour, happy to have you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you found the chart, guys. We got a crazy amount of stuff on the YouTube channel. If you go to there's a playlist called Lessons and More, just a bunch of good juice. There's another playlist called Joey Webinars. It's pretty much everything that you need to know to play the game. It's a 4-part series. That's some good stuff. And then if you want to go back and see like what was going on in Charting Man Dan's mind during the 2017 top, 2017 into 2018, you can go back and watch his videos of how he was trading it, what he was looking at. And, earlier in my trading career, before I even traded crypto, I went back and watched Dan's crypto videos from like the full run up and then top and then move down, just as like educational purposes. And that, allowed me to hit the ground running when I started trading crypto. But the fact that we've got this like diary of stuff is just crazy. Crazy. No problem, Karam. Miss you in the chat room, dude. I definitely remember you. It's been some years now since you've been here, but happy to see you on the stream still and appreciate you. Let's see. We did not cover SEI. Let's take a look. SEI kind of been lacking some clarity lately. Let's see if we've got any now. No, maybe. Maybe, but it's still just our weekly uptrend, weekly 12 EMA. Bulls held it by a skosh. What we were watching was this 3-day. 3-day, we did get the higher low, but then got the lower low and then snapped it back up. So sure looking like bulls are trying for a weekly higher low. They've V-shaped the whole move, but gonna need to get a daily uptrend from here. Why can't I? Something's fishy. Something's fishy. There we go. My drawing tool wasn't working. So gonna need a daily uptrend from here. Huge bounce off the low. We've got 4-hour uptrend, 4-hour 12 EMA. That's gonna need to be lost to see daily consolidation. Then bulls want to hold the 50% move or 50% retracement of this move and get the daily uptrend. That would get a weekly higher low set with confidence, and then can be looking back at all-time highs. So certainly not sleeping on SEI by any means, but it's a little tougher to capitalize on opportunity when you don't have as much clarity. And we've kind of just been sideways for a couple months at the highs here. So obviously all-time highs 103, bulls want to get over, and then maybe we could get a little more clarity back in. So a lot of our all-time high bulls are just kind of like waiting to bust. INJ chilling up here, waiting to potentially bust. SEI, similar. OP was doing that and is now trying to get the bust down. TAO. Also kind of just chilling at the highs, waiting to bust. It's up to new highs. We got a daily uptrend, daily 12 EMA support, but no real fireworks here. No real fireworks. PNDL losing clarity as well. I have a megaphone here. It pretty objectively is. So that's worth keeping an eye on PNDL. SUI, still trying for this weekly cup and handle. We're getting lower lows without follow through, but burden of proof in the short term is on bulls. Had the big bounce, couldn't get the uptrend. Let's see if they can do it again. This is another inverse head and shoulders type. What the heck? What in the heck? I feel like my trading view is bugging out. I'm not confident enough to say it's not me though, because I don't feel on my game today. Could be an inverse head and shoulders. Could be an inverse head and shoulders here. So let's see. Barbarian Cauldron with the tip. $4.99. Thank you. Can you look at Pepe and Bonk looking to get good swing position before its next move up? Do you see a pullback before that? Yeah, I talked about them a bit more in the beginning of the, or talked about them both at the beginning of the stream. So you can go back and see some clarity or some more color on that there. But for Pepe, I'm like an 8-hour 12 EMA. If you're looking for a swing position to see if the show goes on, then I'd say looking perhaps hourly oversold off the 8-hour 12 EMA. I don't know. That wouldn't be viable at this point. Hourly oversold is much lower. Oh, actually, it's not. I mean, it's a little bit lower, but that'll come up as we come down. Oh, that is a lot lower. See, I'm telling you, I'm not on my game today. Not on my game today. But yeah, typically you want to find a clear pattern, find a clear guide, and then say, as long as this is holding, then the show goes on, and then you make your play off of that. So obviously, probably goes without saying that, buying up here, you've got to just make sure that you're managing your risk. There's nothing wrong with buying up here as long as you stop out if it ends up being the top. Because the last thing you want to do is hold these stinkers when the show comes to an end. There's no sign of it yet. We've got full-on rotation in the space still. No sign of it yet, but you don't want to get stuck holding anything, let alone these coins. So that's Pepe, and then we're looking at Bonk. Bonk is a daily 12 EMA rider. So you got 8-hour 12 EMA on Pepe, you got daily 12 EMA on Bonk, and pretty similar 6-hour EQ. So as I was talking about SHIB at the beginning of the stream, bulls want these to just tighten on up. You want these EQs to just continue and get nice and tight. And then if you're looking for a potential swing position, you can position off the lows within these EQs, or you can buy the break and then put your stop below the last low and have a pretty low risk in the scheme of things opportunity at getting in on something that, again, we will not be shocked in the slightest with whatever these meme coins do. They put up 100% day. We won't be surprised because it's what crypto is made for. So with that, there might be some people that be like, oh, you are stupid for buying it up here. No, you'd be stupid for like investing up here, I think. Or not stupid. That's a really bad word for it. You'd be incredibly aggressive if you were like buying up here to invest, no plan to stop out. That'd be very aggressive and high risk. But trying to capitalize on the next leg up because, after this day, 29% in a day, I bet a lot of people were like, holy crap, buying here would be stupid. But then we went another 156%. So you just got to identify a pattern, figure out your risk to reward, figure out what your invalidation point is, and then throw your hat in the fire, see if it sticks. If it doesn't stick, you stop out, you take your manageable loss, and then you look to the next time frame, the larger time frame, high or low. You try again. And you try again. You sell partials if you get the move in your favor. So say we tighten up and we come back down here. I think it's something to do with this button on the side that's not working for my drawing tool. If I click it down low, oh, now this one's not working. Something's up with trading view. There we go. So say we pull down back to support and you take a few scales here. You get an average, say, let's say 29 for clean math. And then you've got your stop below, say 26 for clean math, a little bit of wiggle room. So your stop is 3 away, 3 whatever, 100 thousandths of a penny, 10 thousandths of a penny. So you pull out your risk to reward tool, We'll set it up, say 29, say your stop is at 26, and then you have your 1-to-1 would be 3 up, so say 31. So you get a 29 entry, then you get a move up to 31. You can sell half, then have your stop at 26, and then if you stop out, you lose nothing. And that little maneuver of buying into a high probability play, not necessarily high probability, but clear play that offers an edge. You buy into that, you sell half, you get risk-free, and then you can't lose. And if this thing goes up to 1,000th of a penny, then you can retire. All right, David Wolf, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for tuning in. TS Kits, hello from Canada. Thank you for your webinar. My pleasure, dude. My pleasure. Those, pretty pleased with how those webinars came out, mainly because everybody says that it's helped them a lot. And that's the reason I do any of this. Want to help other people, pay it forward, and I'm just a chart nerd. I love talking about charts. Let's see, Jay Stevens, do I like DEX coins? Yeah, they're doing well. They're doing well. They're continuing their uptrend from that first uni news day. Everybody's continuing their way on up. So daily uptrends, daily 12 EMA on all of these. 1 inch definitely got a little funky. Sushi pulling down a little bit below. Sushi's maybe a 2-day 12 EMA or now. Yeah, daily or 2-day, whatever you want to look at. Let's see, you bought Orca. I don't know if I've looked at this one. Dude on KuCoin. Yeah, a bit of a different structure from those other DEX coins. What do we got here? This is quite similar to our weekly lower high crew, but it's the daily chart. Look at this chart on the daily for Orca. And let's think maybe AXS is one of the better weekly examples. Yeah, almost exactly the same. Weekly on AXS versus the daily. Oh no, that was, hold on. Yeah, so weekly on AXS, daily on Orca. Same thing. And that's the whole fractal nature of this stuff. And that's why you only got to learn like the guts of how the charts move, and then you can apply it to the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the daily, the weekly, the whole kit and caboodle. So yeah, Bull's going to need a daily uptrend to be confident in any follow through. They're trying to get a monthly bounce underway. Not a lot of history here. And that's really that at this point. Look at the 4 hour. Got a 4 hour uptrend is the guide for the daily move. Lots of room for a 4 hour higher low, but not a lot of clarity. Not a lot of clarity on this thing. All right. I'm going to have to wrap it on up here. Didn't realize it's 4:10. It's Friday. It's technically my day off, even though I've just been around here all day. So I'm going to go out, get on the parkway, go look at some rain. When you go out in the mountains and it's rainy, it's sweet because you're just driving up on top of the clouds. So that's my plans for the night. Thank you all for tuning on in. Really appreciate all the support. Appreciate the likes. If you're not subscribed, you should subscribe. Give it a shot. See if you like us. If you don't, you can unsubscribe. Oh, and actually an update. For anybody who uses Trader Pro, we have added Pepe to that. So let me pull this up here. So Trader Pro is the crypto alert system that Toby made. Absolute wizard. This is it, right? Yeah. And, talking about all these backburners and stuff, this is absolutely the environment for it. You can set alerts for all these different metrics and whatnot. And yeah, Pepe got added to it. So he stays on top of these things, and his new coins come into rotation. He adds them, and by popular demand, Pepe got added to that. So for all you Trader Pro folk out there, you can now be hunting Pepe backburners. 8 hour 12 EMA on Pepe. Keep an eye on it. So, all right. Goodbye for real. Hope everyone has a wonderful, not goodbye for real. We got to talk about one more thing. This weekend. So if we see Bitcoin consolidate, alt bulls want to see Bitcoin dominance pullback in alts to go up if we were going to see like a fun alt weekend. So right now we got Bitcoin dominance going up because Bitcoin is stronger than the alts. But say Bitcoin just kind of tightens up over the weekend. We've been seeing that a lot lately. Bitcoin dominance dropping, alts popping, just like last weekend. In here, that was exactly what bulls wanted to see, and we had nice alt moves, and then Bitcoin got the next leg up. So gonna be keeping eyes out for that. Let's see where the broad market closed, just out of curiosity. And NVDA for that hourly back burner. Yeah, pretty weak. Got to keep eyes on the broad market next week. Crypto doing fine in a bubble. Going to be looking for an hourly tightening range here on Bitcoin into Friday night. Daily 12 EMA guide on Bitcoin. 12-hour 12 EMA guide on ETH. 8-hour again on Pepe. Daily Doge. Daily on Bonk. INJ playing the range. Keeping an eye on AI coins, hourly high or low back burners on RNDR, FET, and keeping eyes on Phil, seeing if it can be the next long-term baser to go. All right, farewell. Have a lovely weekend all, and we'll see you next time.